This is the video for Wednesday, March 29th. We're looking for the length of this side right here. We are given the area. So we know length times width equals area. So we need to think about what times 8 gives us 56. So this should be the work that we're showing in order to find our answer. Number 2 is a pretty simple multiplication problem. Make sure you're thinking about 9 times what gives us 72. Number 3, what point does C represent? So we can see here is C. Sometimes I like to have my kids put their fingers next to 0 and 1 and count the number of spaces. I can see 1, 2, 3 spaces. So I know this whole is cut into 3 parts. So I know my denominator needs to be 3. So I know already it can't be D. And then I'm going to shade up until I get to C to find the correct answer. Number 4 is asking what is the area of this figure. Again, using this equation length times width, we can figure out what A equals. Number 5 is a pretty straightforward addition problem. These should be slam dunks for us in 3rd grade. These should be the problems that we know for sure 100% we're going to get right. And we actually will know if we're getting it right or not if we check our work using subtraction. Because if we're getting our same answer, then we know that our answer is correct. Number 6. What is the length of the line to the nearest 4th inch? Well, I'm going past 1. I'm going past 2 holes. I'm even going past 3 holes. Now I need to look at what fraction I have left. And I can see it's broken down into fourths. I'm going to color up until I get to my answer. Number 7. What is the same as 4/6? I can complete a number bond to see what is going to equal 4/6. Whenever we're adding fractions, we need to make sure that our denominator stays the same. Our denominator needs to stay the same, and now we're looking for our numerator to equal 4. Number 8, Mrs. Cornwell left for work at 9:23 a.m. It took her 46 minutes to get there. When did she when did she arrive? So we know she left for work at 9:23. It's going to take her 46 minutes to get there. So we need to add our 46 minutes in order to find our final time. Number 9, how many more people own goldfish or hamsters than rabbits? So I know this word "or" kind of throws us off, but we want to be looking at how many more people own goldfish or hamsters. That means we're going to be combining, these numbers. So we want to look at goldfish and hamster, and this is a very similar question to what we had yesterday, and we want to see how many more students voted or own these animals than rabbits. So this is a 2-step problem we need to do. We need to do something with goldfish and hamster first, and then we can figure out their relation to the rabbits. Number 10, what is the difference between squares and parallelograms? So we know Q, T, P, R, and R makes a square. So, we're looking at what's the difference between a parallelogram and a square. We can draw a few pictures to help ourselves think of that, but think about the main difference between these two shapes. Number 11 is a multiplication problem. We know with multiplication, we can multiply these numbers in any order and we're still going to get the same answer. So I can combine these two and I can get 3 times 2 and then I get that answer, and then I can multiply that by 5, or I can do 3 times 5 and get that answer and multiply by 2. Whatever you want to do, we can multiply these in any order and we're still going to get the same answer. So yeah, just make sure that you're combining 2 of them and then multiplying that number by the last number that you have left. Which of the following represents the sum of 2,389 plus 173 rounded to the nearest 100? So I'm going to round these numbers first. and I'm rounding to the nearest 100. So I'm going to start with 300 and then put my 2,000 in front. My next 100 is going to be 400. I'm going to put my 2 in front. And then in between 300 and 400 is 350. I'm putting my 2 in front. And now I can put this number on our number line and see whether it's going to round down or round up. Same thing with 173. Rounding to the nearest 100. I'm going to let you fill in your number line. And then you're going to add whatever numbers you rounded to. So if you rounded down, you're going to use 2,300. If you rounded up, you're going to use 2,400. And then same thing for 173. You're going to then combine those two numbers. Number 13, which fraction is equivalent to 2/8? So again, we can use multiplication or we can use division to find equivalent fractions. We just need to make sure we're multiplying and dividing by the same number over itself. So if I multiply by 2, my new equivalent fraction is going to be 4/16. I don't see 4/16 though, so I'm going to try division now. I can divide by 2/2, and I can get a new fraction. I'm going to see then if that's one of my answers. Number 14, what is 15/6 as a mixed number? So we can break this down into wholes, and we can continue that until we don't have any left. So right now I have 6, but I can 6/6, but I can go up to 15/6. Now I have 12/6, but I can go up to 15/6. So I can have another fraction over here. I'm going to let you figure that out on your own. Number 15, Alice saved $26 in June, $45 in July, and $49 in August. Then Alice spent $15 on school supplies and $13 on new clothes. How much money does Alice have left? So there are a few different steps here. We first need to figure out how much money she got in June, July, and August. And then we're going to need to figure out how much she has left after she spends it on school supplies and new clothes. So again, this is a 2-step problem. Number 16, we're filling in the blank. We can see our rows and then our columns are missing. So we need to use our columns on this side to figure out what that would be. Again, I would draw a picture to help yourself. We have 4 rows, 4 columns. 4 rows, 4 columns. So what is our total columns going to be? Number 17, what is the area of this figure below? I'm going to let you use cut and continue in order to write your 2-area equation and then find your answer. Number 18, which of the following would be the best unit of measurement for a car? That's a pretty big object. Think about which one would be best used for a car. Number 19, we're using 6 times 7. And you're looking at which story problem you would use multiplication. So Caden shares his 7 markers with 6 friends. So that would be division. So I think you should just go through and write, is it going to be division, multiplication, addition, or subtraction for these different problems? And then same thing for number 20, we're dividing 81 by 9. Think about which story problem is going to use division in order to solve it. As always, please make sure you're speaking with your teachers in the morning or while we're going over the homework to ask any questions that you are confused about tonight. Have a great night and see you tomorrow morning.